Hi there, my name is Beth Walker and I'm a content strategist at SMA Marketing. This is the first of 4 courses under the Simplified Digital Marketing, a mini crash course program. This course is designed for authors, entrepreneurs, people who work in nonprofit, and small business owners to give you just an overview of digital marketing in 2023. The first course is what do I need to know about a website? And each of the courses build on each other. So let's get started. What do I need to know about a website? So the first thing to know about websites is that there are a ton of options out there. And when it comes to visibility and control, there are not as many actual helpful options as it may seem. So we prefer to utilize WordPress.org for our company or the highest level of WordPress.com. And that's because with WordPress, you have the most control and flexibility over your templated designs, as well as the different things that you can add to your website. The goal of your website is to introduce people to your company, your products, and your services, to introduce people to yourself. And so it's important that you have the best welcoming space, just like if it were a brick and mortar store, people are going to walk in and they're going to have an impression. The same is true of your website. Now, more important than what it looks like is actually that you pull up for the correct search queries. Okay, so how do we choose the best platform? Websites compete for digital space, and Google, which would be your Chrome browser, currently holds about 91% of the market share. And the next largest market share owner is Bing, which would be Microsoft. Now, it's awesome to show up on both search engines, but in reality, we need to follow what Google considers to be best practices because that's the place that the majority of people are using to search for you. Because we want to have the most control over our website design, our company chooses WordPress for our website templates. Now, when you are building your website, you need to have your URL, your core domain. You need to have a website template, and then you're going to need a hosting provider. So your hosting provider is what connects you to the rest of the internet and makes sure that your website is running fast and that it is secure. Your domain is your name, whatever, bestbusinesshere.com, .net, .org. And then your template is the visual content, where everything goes on the website. And so those 3 things come together to create your digital platform, your website. WordPress is one of the oldest companies. It also gives you the most control over your design, while also allowing SEO optimizations. And SEO optimizations is what helps search engines find you. So you can have a beautiful website, and if you're not properly coding it for search engine bots to read, no one's going to find you. And WordPress does a fabulous job of allowing you to control all the information that a search bot needs while still giving you a beautiful design. Another benefit of using WordPress is that they have pricing for every budget. You can get a free domain, and they will host you. You can go up a little bit in pricing and have a domain that doesn't say WordPress.com with it, or you can utilize a more robust plan that allows you to choose which hosting provider you use and to not necessarily use WordPress. Whichever way you go, whether you use WordPress or not, you need to ensure that you are creating content that talks directly to your target audience. Okay, so now that we know the basics of the website, it's important that we consider your website priorities. Now, most people are going to talk about the importance of a template. And while that is true, templates are they're pretty consistent now. Designers know that you need to have speed, especially if you utilize WordPress. They're going to have a space for you to add in the different tools that you need, which would be called plugins, to really customize your site. So as far as visual, it's going to be there. And while that's important, we also need to think about the structure for the best user experience. And spaces to add special coding so that as the Chrome bots are reading your website, they can understand the context of your content. The most important thing is that you pull up in the correct search queries. And so having a beautiful website that sells gardening seeds isn't going to be helpful if you pull up for companies that sell gardening equipment, right? No one's going to be happy that they were looking for a gardening tool and instead they found seeds. So it's really important that every page is contextually accurate. All of your messaging should focus on your core subjects and move people through a logical progression that helps them move from the awareness stage, oh, look at this cool website I found, to understanding exactly what you're providing, to being so excited about what you're providing that they want to purchase your products or services. So how do we do this, right? How do we make sure that the content is correct for Google and for people? Well, we're going to focus on your buyer persona. Now, if you're an author, this would be your target audience, would be the terminology you're more likely to hear. Regardless, it's the same thing. A buyer persona is a semi-fictional description that represents your ideal customer or your ideal reader, your ideal client. And you want your website to focus on highlighting the problems that are frustrating people and also offering the solutions. And so when you can show empathy and explain to someone, hey, I've been there, I know what it's like to not be able to find unique seeds when I'm trying to garden, but because of that, we will ship them directly to you. You've just solved their problem. Okay, so who is your target audience? Now, you might think that, continuing with the gardening example, you might think, well, anyone is interested in gardening. But the reality is that's not true. You're talking to people who can actually utilize your product. So if you're working with stay-at-home moms or you're working with a Fortune 500 CEO, those are very different conversations and they're very different presentations as far as your content. Included in the comments of this video, we're actually going to provide you with a buyer persona profile template. So you can go through and you can ask yourself all the questions to help you form the semi-fictional person you're targeting. Here's something to consider as an example. Going back to the gardening example. Okay, so you have particular seeds. Well, I'm in the United States and it's a huge country and we have very different weather in the very southern parts of the country versus the very northern parts of the country. So if you were to specialize